Hello everyone, I am Left, and today I have a video for you guys about Weapon Power Vox, something that has confused me for a really long time. I never really liked playing Weapon Power Vox when I started playing the game. Like, when I really started getting into the game, that's back when Crystal Vox was the only way that you played Vox. This was in 1.8, 1.9, 1.10, and then they nerfed Crystal Vox, and we never saw him again until now. Well, we still aren't seeing him, but we have not seen him since like around 1.10. Anyways, this video is about Weapon Vox, not Crystal Vox. Weapon Vox always seems to stay in the meta regardless of what that meta is. It always seems to shape differently, but it always just shapes around Vox instead of moving past him like it does for other heroes. He's so adaptable that really all you have to do is change his build and the rest is easy in the patch, no matter what happens to him, unless he gets a gigantic nerf. Then he usually just switches from weapon to crystal power in the meta and stays in the meta anyways. But that's a subject for another video. After playing a lot of Vox on my stream, I've actually gotten a little bit better at him so that I can feel confident playing him in Vainglorious. I've come to learn that there are two different playstyles for Vox that you need to interchange during fights. Good Vox players seem to do this unconsciously, but I kind of wanted to make this video to break that down for you guys because not everybody out there is a good Vox player. I wasn't for the longest time, and it always frustrated me. So the two styles are offensive style, or rushing, and the defensive style, or kiting. We're going to talk about kiting first, in which Vox moves backwards while attacking. Typically, Vox kites because he's taking damage and aggression from his enemies. This is particularly effective on Vox because of a few things. Sonic Zoom is the perfect kiting ability, and is particularly effective because it allows him to move backwards while attacking with an ability that also does weapon power damage. Pulse slows down enemies that are trying to chase Vox, and he has a high base attack speed at level 12. This means that in a vacuum, Vox is great at escaping and evading melee heroes as they chase after him. Here we're going to move to an example of the kiting style. This is a clip from my stream of an Ozo failing to kill me. Notice how I'm kiting backwards and dealing damage to the Ozo at the same time. Now this would have been a lot more difficult if the Idris had joined in the Ozo's efforts to kill me, but in the end you see that I kite backwards and am able to kill the Ozo. So next let's talk about the rushing style, or the one in which Vox moves offensively forward while attacking. When Vox rushes, it's because he knows he can out damage the enemy. Maybe you have a gold lead or you just have a lot of breaking point stacks. Vox is great for rushing for the exact same reasons he's good for kiting. Sonic Zoom is an all-purpose ability. It allows him to chase targets and get away from targets. It also allows you to dodge stuns and other crowd control, while Pulse slows down enemies that are wishing to flee. Here is an example from my stream of the rushing style. Now, we start out here by, I think, taking the Kraken. I don't have it in front of me. And then you watch me as I rush onto the enemy Sky, activating my boots and out-damaging her with Burst. You do this on Vox, like I said before, when you have a gold lead, when you have an item lead, when you know that you have a lot more damage than the enemy. So, what makes a good Vox player is not only his mechanical skill like farm per minute, KD ratio, or hitting a great ultimate. It's able to make conscious decisions mid-fight on whether or not you should be kiting or rushing. What I think is that in the end, most deaths on Vox can be boiled down to the player choosing the wrong fighting style and executing through with it in a fight. An extreme example of this would be trying to run straight at Kroll to 1v1 him. That is not a time where you need to be rushing offensively, that's a time where you need to be kiting defensively because you're against a Kroll. So, the ability to be a good Vox, in the end, you sort of unconsciously start to make these decisions of whether you should be kiting or rushing, and that becomes more and more natural the more you play Vox, and eventually you become a really good Vox. So Weapon Vox can be really hard to understand because in a chaotic 6-man team fight, it's hard to make the right choice on the fly. But when you do and you combine it with your mechanical skills, Weapon Vox is one of the most versatile and best heroes in this whole game. So now for this last section, I'm going to give you guys some build advice. Vox has some of the most variable builds in this whole game. This is as of December 1st, 2017. I can't speak for what they're going to do to Vox in the future, so these are the best builds right now. You're going to almost always want to start with Sorrow Blade right now on Vox. Maybe a little bit of attack speed before you get the Sorrow Blade, But there is one case where you don't want to start with Sorrow Blade, and that would be the enemy team having 2 healers. If the enemy team has 2 healers, start with Poison Shiv. It's not very much hard weapon power, but the utility of the Mortal Wound against 2 healers is something that you really want first. Also, if you buy Poison Shiv second after Sorrow Blade, that is probably another one of the best builds right now. You don't even need to buy Poison Shiv because there's healers anymore. It's too versatile of an item to not buy right now. If the fights are lasting a very long time, buy a Breaking Point third. If the fights are not lasting a very long time, stack crit chance or crit damage instead of the Breaking Point, like Tornado Trigger or Tyrant's Monocle, depending on how comfortable you are with only 35% attack speed from the Poison Shiv. If the enemies are building tons of armor, then you should get a Bone Saw. If they're not getting tons of armor, then just stack crit again or get the Breaking Point, depending on how long the fights are lasting. So as you can probably deduce from this section, building in Vainglory depends on a lot of different things. There is no one best build. There are only best builds. So if you have any other specific questions about builds down below, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. That's going to be it for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something useful about Weapon Power Vox, and I'll see you guys all later.